On today's episode of Golf is Ruining My Life, we are taking you to whole new levels of golf geekery.
Oh, the insights you're going to get. This is potentially, and I apologize in advance, the geekiest episode of Golf is Ruining My Life we've had since Tom Price recorded a whole driver fitting. Ugh. Let's do it. Right, welcome back to another episode of Great Britain's second favourite golf podcast on what I'm going to say is probably going to be the geekiest half an hour in this show's history.
Wow.
Welcome.
We're going deep.
To a fitting special.
Oh, sit back and relax as we talk about things which are on the very border of our understanding, which, to be honest, is sort of usual for this podcast. Now, Tom, we went off to Gainsborough in Lincolnshire.
Yep.
And I'm going to call it, it was the greatest day of my life. Oh, what? Including children being born? Including getting married? Yes.
Straight face, yes. So to catch you up, if you don't know about what's happened up to this point, so we said on the podcast, probably like 3 weeks ago now, that the idea of this show for this year was to try and make your golf way better and our golf way better. That actually, if we commit to this thing and go lessons, new clubs, 3 times a week playing, tracking stuff, maybe getting Arcos in, what can we achieve? And we said we thought we needed new clubs. We weren't signed anywhere. We could go anywhere. And we got loads of amazing emails in. And the thing that I think me and Tom were most excited about was when the guys at Ping emailed. Because we've both been obsessed by Ping forever, right?
Yeah, they just felt special. It just felt like a special moment. When you see an email from a Ping-based website, you're like, hang on.
Yes.
That's not Ping as in Ping. Is that Ping? Do they mean Ping? Have I had an email pinged from Ping? Is that what's happened here? So that was... I got shudders when that happened.
So they said, guys, we'd love to get you over to Gainsborough. So to paint the picture, Gainsborough is, how can I describe it? It's like the Ping headquarters. So, I mean, it literally is the Ping European headquarters. They've got where all the clubs are made, and they've got a sort of, I think they own 2 golf courses there. There's a fitting centre, and they just said, come up, no strings attached, just take away a load of clubs, see how it feels, and just enjoy the process. So
basically, the man who invented Ping, Karsten, back in something like the 60s or 70s maybe, decided, all right, we'll branch out. Here we go. UK, Europe, let's make it happen. Came over to Britain, met a guy who was going to make Ping clubs in the UK.
Yeah.
And the guy said, well, I'm happy to do this. Let's do it. Let's do Ping in the UK. I live in Gainsborough. And the American guy went, cool, that seems near Heathrow. And that's why Ping's in Gainsborough. And if you're a fan of going up the A1, and if you're a fan of Lincolnshire, it's a beautiful part of the world.
Oh, it's brilliant news. So we went there a few weeks ago, and so it was, as always with Golf is Ruining My Life, it was a pretty hectic experience because, Tom, you had a tight deadline to get out. I was on the breakfast show that morning on the radio, so I had to finish the radio show in Manchester, drive over there. I arrived at the doors of the Gainsborough Fitting Centre as you had just wrapped up your experience.
Yeah, and how did I come across to you, Tom, after I'd done 3.5 hours of fitting? Give me a sense of how that version of Tom Price appeared to you.
You were like a kid in a candy shop, is how I describe it. It really made me quite excited for what was to come. You didn't seem tired. You seemed that you were really happy with the numbers and how it had gone. You seemed slightly stressed about the idea of getting a train back to London, but in terms of golf clubs, you seemed over the moon.
I was unbelievably happy because there were just golf clubs everywhere, and all these golf clubs were made by Ping, including a gold putter, which Ping give one of their players. Every time their player wins an event, they get a gold putter. They didn't give us gold putters. Would that be asked? That's probably asking for too much right now. I've come close to winning the medal. It was one of those things where I had to get a train back to get to work because obviously I do the drive time show on the radio at 4:00. And it all went so well. The fitting was amazing. Got the taxi to the train station, to Grantham train station. And as I walked onto the platform thinking, what could possibly go wrong now? I'm here, I'm at the train station in plenty of time. All of the trains to London were cancelled. All of them. So I had this weird elation of having just visited, and met Willy Wonka, and then suddenly at the same time discovering I was about to lose my job. So that was a weird moment. In the end, it was fine. Helicopters aren't that expensive to hire, it turns out. But the crucial thing is, this is a service. This is a thing you can do. This is not something which we've been given because we're Britain's second biggest golf podcast
Mad
in
sentence.
the least. Mad sentence. They offer this to you. People pay to go and get their clubs fitted. If you want to play your best, go and get this level of fitting. I've been fitted before. This is a different level of being fitted. They are measuring different things and they are looking for different feels and they are trying different stuff. So hitting balls is not the half of what you get up to when you go to a ping fitting.
It was a lot more full on than I thought it was going to be. It was very different to any fitting I'd ever had because we went through, I had a go at hitting every single iron that Ping have to offer, bar the ones that were for the pros and therefore I was never going to hit. But if I wanted to, I could have done. It was really interesting. So should we start with, I think we should start with irons, Tom, because that's where my fitting started. Should we talk about the irons first?
Yeah. So I was initially, I've forgotten the name of them, Tom, because you're such a nerd, you'll remember. What is the sort of mid-handicap irons, the i5 somethings? What are they called?
Oh, yeah, I can't remember which ones those are. Yeah, the i5 something. They're a little bit like the cavity back, but the back pieces has a bit of metal on. They're very similar to a few years ago. The P790s came out, and I think they were a bit of a game changer for TaylorMade. The P790s were released, and a lot of clubs did things similar. That's what I had from Cobra in my bag for years. I had the Forge Tech, which were essentially, it's a cavity back, but they've covered up the cavity, the cavity right at the back, and it looks more like a blade, essentially. It has the look like of a blade, but the forgiveness of a cavity blade. Back.
It's the i530s. So I had a go with the i530s, and I'm hitting a 7 iron, and the distances are similar.
Yeah.
I wasn't hitting it well. I was quite nervous. I was quite stiff. That's another thing. It takes a while. The first thing you do actually when you turn up is you hit your clubs. So I was hitting my old Tour King things from Cobra, hitting them quite nicely. And then they put me in the i530s and we had a different type of shaft. And we also changed a big part of the thing they changed is the angle of how of where the heel of the club meets the shaft. And that angle is worked out by your height and how you address the ball. And angle, I've never had that fitted before. That's never been fitted to me before.
That angle for me has always been a big thing that Ping offer. And I've never understood it until I went. Like, you buy all these irons and they all have a different coloured dot on them. And that represents whether it's upright or something like that, which is all based on your height. And I've never really understood how that system works. So would you say the first thing that you do when you go there is they take your height and the length of your arms and all this sort of stuff and work out, based on that, what sort of colour you would end up in? I think I ended up in black, which is their standard height, standard lofted lie angle sort of thing. So I ended up in that. And I had a fascinating experience because I was coming off the back of using the Forge Tech irons. And I really liked them and they were really good, but I wanted something that gave me more distance. So my first thing that I said, I think I was fitted by a lovely man called Adam. I think it was Adam. It was a really nice guy. And I said to him, all I care about is forgiveness and distance. That's the only thing I want here. I just want to hit my 7 iron as far as possible. And we'd been texting the day before, Tom, and I was like, I just want to get distance. That's all I'm looking for is forgiveness. So in my head, I sort of knew the direction I would be going in, which would be into the G440 irons. So I did a whole fitting with the G440s, and then we established what sort of shaft I wanted, right? So, and I actually went with a regular flex shaft, a little bit of weight off it so I could get a bit more swing speed. Perfect. Yeah. Great. Yeah. In the G440s, which felt similar to my old irons, if not maybe a little bit more forgiving. You looked down at them, and there was a lot of forgiveness there. You felt really comfortable. And I was like, cool, I've got this. And then I said to Adam, I was like, should we try some different things? And he was like, we should definitely try some other stuff before we go ahead with this. And then they have, I think they're called the Blueprint S, aren't they? The Blueprint S irons.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So this is nearly blades. This is sort of not quite blades, but it's nearly blades. So the proper players' blades are also called Blueprint, but they're not Blueprint S.
I think they're blue. Are they the Blueprint I? Are they Blueprint I irons? Something like that?
Yes.
So then we put in these Blueprint S irons. And when you look down on them, it was a little bit more daunting, if I'm honest. That cavity back wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
And then I hit them.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. You went and hit them.
Oh, and then I hit them. And the fascinating thing about this fitting process, and this is why fitting is so important, is it's to go in there and let the numbers and the tech lead you, as opposed to going there and going, I want this, I will do this. It's like, it's the exact thing I had when I got my Scotty Cameron putter. I had such an idea in my mind, exactly what I wanted, and I really wouldn't take much advice, and I have always struggled with that putter. Yeah. And I went in there wanting the G440s, and as soon as I started hitting the Blueprint S irons, okay, they're a little bit more scary when you look down at them, but when it comes out the middle, the feel was unlike anything I've ever had before in golf.
Yeah, and you turn to everyone behind the monitor. You know, you got your guy fitting you. Maybe there's someone else hanging around, and you look at them, and they're just looking at you like, right?
Yeah.
Right?
That's
so the
ones
one beyond that, the ones that are the players' blades, are the Blueprint T. Now,
T, that's it.
That's when it feels like you're trying to hit your ball with a coin on a stick. They're very hard to hit. I played with proper blades a couple of years ago. I kind of feel like I lost a summer to those because they were so hard to hit. When I hit them well, it was great, but I spent a lot of time hitting them badly. Did you have a go with the Blueprint Ts, or did you stick on S at this point?
No. I stayed on the Blueprint S because when I got them out the middle, they were amazing. And the most fascinating thing is I went into this fitting going, I want to hit my 7-iron 180 yards. I don't care. The Blueprint S irons, traditional lofts.
There, you are going way back. I mean, I've just played this morning. I've been out this morning hitting 100. I think I had 155 yards on one of the last holes. And I was like, well, that's now a 7-iron. That used to be a 9-iron with my Cobras. That was but it's only because of they've changed the loft and put a different number on it. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Who cares what number or letter is on that golf club? You know what your distance is. It doesn't matter.
Now, I've had these irons now in the bag for a couple of weeks, and the best way I can describe going from a powerful, spongy iron that will send a 7-iron 160, 180 yards to what I've got now with the Blueprint S irons is the feel. And I've never been a golfer that understood feel. I didn't know what that meant. The best way I can describe feel, if you've never sort of understood what that term means, and I didn't for so long, is when I hit my old irons, it felt a bit like hitting fudge, okay? Yeah. In a way, it would go a long way, but you would never know whether it was going to go left or right or far or short. There was no feedback from the club face into your hands because there was so much technology there to help get it in the air and whatever. And that was great for so long and really helped me with my golf. However, with these new irons, you don't get any of that fudge. You get a real connection as to what the club face is doing and what that ball feel is like. So yeah, I don't hit my 7-iron as far anymore, but the dispersion has been amazing. Bringing everything in a little bit, making it all a little bit more tighter, and just having that feel. It's gone from hitting fudge to hitting a proper blade is the only way I can describe it.
Yeah, no, I think I agree. The thing that it feels like for me is when you hit those chunkier clubs and those clubs that almost help you more, you do a swing and the shot happens and you go, thanks, I've done a swing and the shot's happened. Yeah. And there's a distance between that action and that shot happening. There's a gap somehow. And when you've got these clubs, it's like you hold the club and that feel and that decision, you've got more to do with that. You are more in control. Obviously, touch. These are all words we know people use, but it's over to you a bit more. Okay, you can hit that shot. Now make some decisions as you're swinging and make that intention as you're swinging, and you can make that happen. Whereas before, with those chunkier clubs, do your swing a little bit simpler and you can get more dispersal, but you'll hit some solid shots. Whereas now, there is a lot more feel, a lot more control, a lot more variables that you can mess around with. And yet, and this is a really important part of what Ping have got, there's more forgiveness, because often with all those variables and all those thoughts and things, there can be a lot of pitfalls. You can thin things, you can even shank stuff, things can go wrong. It's what's amazing about these is that you can make all those decisions and try and shape this and bring that over here, and you still know it's got your back. You still know it's got forgiveness, which is a real novelty for me.
So you ended up in those irons as well, right? I guess you had the same experience with me, which is when you hit them right, the distance is bang on what you think it should be. It's not super powerful, but they're traditional lofted, so that's fine. And the feel, it's all about the feel.
Yeah, so I've also ended up, and if you really want to nerd out, guys, go and have a look at the Ping color code chart, okay? And this will tell you what the dot on those Ping clubs means. Now, you're on black, Tom, which is pretty much neutral.
Yeah, neutral.
and I believe I'm on green, and that's because I'm more upright, because I'm taller. So this is all about, if this, my right hand here, sorry if you're listening to this, if you got the club and then you got the shaft, the less the angle between the shaft and the club, that's more upright that you are, basically. It's that simple, right? So you're moving that angle there, you're messing around with that, and that is the thing that Ping offer, and that's why you get dots on Ping clubs, and it's that level of fitting, and it makes a massive difference, because if you think about it, if you are holding the club at a different bit, and you are a bit shorter or you're flat, it's going to impact on what the club is doing. It's obvious.
And I ended up doing something which I never thought I would have done and wouldn't have done if I wasn't guided by a fitter. And this is the difference between buying it off the shelf or buying it online. I've ended up with a split bag. Can I explain what that means?
Oh, well, listen, what I'm going to suggest, Tom, is that
I know
we all have a moment.
Going. Yes.
We all, I mean, as if people aren't already reveling in products right now, quite frankly. We should have a moment. Let's have a little dip into some products, have a think about what we've done. And in a moment, we're going to discuss split bags. We're going to discuss woods, because we haven't even started on the woods yet.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about putters. If you, like us, are nerding out, it's going to get very, very serious in just a moment.
We've only just started. So I've ended up with a split bag. Can I explain? Let me explain what this means. So with these irons, the Blueprint S irons, for someone like me who's a 9 handicapper, probably, my handicap is probably 9 up to about 12, 13 is where I feel happy at the moment.
What did you shoot on Friday? What did you shoot on Friday? 20 over?
Yeah, it was a bad day. It was a really bad day.
But it didn't used to be. I mean, that is a sign of how much you've improved. Because 20 over for you was, you'd be more like, yeah, okay. And now you're like, bad. That is bad.
Yeah, really bad. Really bad. I feel like my game is in a big transition at the moment where I've got these new clubs in the bag. And do you know what? For the first time ever, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, I had a really bad round on Friday. For the last 5 years of my golf, I would have blamed the clubs. I would have said it's not right. There's something wrong. Guys, it was me. I was the issue on Friday. When I hit them, they were absolutely brilliant. I was just a bit sloppy. My game is really, really sloppy at the moment. And it feels like everything is about 10 or 15% off. And when everything's 10 or 15% off, it's really hard to score. But what I want to say with this is, so I had these Blueprint S irons and I was looking at it and I had like a 7 iron. I felt quite comfortable with it. 6 iron, okay, it's getting a little bit dangerous. So then...
How do you mean dangerous? Dispersal-wise? Just thinning it, or just strike's not as good?
Yeah, getting it into the air. And also just quite daunting to look at a blade as it gets, as you lose loft on it. Like the idea of trying to get that in the air is, for me, a little bit daunting, and they're so thin. It's amazing with the 7 iron, but for me, it was a little bit too much as we got into the 4 and 5 irons. So he was like, great. Adam was just like, brilliant. Why don't we put the G440, which is the cavity back, the slightly more forgiving iron, in the 4 and 5 iron? And that has been
very nice.
It's been amazing because
it's very modern. It's a blended family.
It's a blended family, and there was a par 3 at my place, which is 190 yards. And now I just take a 4 iron. And I would really worry with an old, either with a bladed 4 iron or one of my old 4 irons. Is I could do the TG bunt, but the TG bunt often doesn't work on a par 3. So I've been playing this 4 iron with the G440, and it's just given me this perfect mix of control with the 7 iron, 8 iron, a bit more feel, and then when you need a bit of help with the 4 and 5 iron, the G440 steps in. It's amazing.
And how far does the 4 iron in the 440 go?
Yeah, about 190 yards, my 4 iron, something like that. 180 to 190, and then 170 to 180 for the 5 iron.
Okay, bingo. So I have done a thing. A moment has happened. And I didn't particularly choose this, but it became apparent that it's chosen me. With my Cobras, I had a 4 iron, which just lived in my locker, and I didn't use it. I mean, literally, it looks like it's in immaculate condition, right? And I just wasn't using it. I was using my rescue wood, which was hard. I never hit that well. And then I had a 1, 3, and a 5 wood. I no longer have a 4 iron. I now have...
Say it. Say the thing.
I'm very proud of it. I have a 23-degree hybrid. It is a 4 hybrid with a Ping Tour 2 Chrome 85 stiff shaft and Tour Velvet Gold grip.
Now, how are you finding hitting this? What give us some numbers on this, Tom. Where does this come into your game? Give me some distances.
I find it really hard to choose the favorite thing that I'm now playing with. I mean, don't forget, a year ago when we were with Cobra, I needed new wedges and I wouldn't use the Cobra wedges because I really, really struggled with them. I bought ping wedges, right? So I love ping wedges, and I hit them beautifully. I will get onto the putter, we'll get onto the driver. I love these irons. I think if I'm going to call it, my favourite thing is the new hybrid. It's either that or the 7-wood, but the hybrid, it is a fairway finder off the tee. It is a 2 off the tee. When it's teed up with a bit of a bounce, I can get to 210 yards. That is all I need at the golf club that we play at. That is all I need. If I want to go big, we'll get to the driver in a minute. So it gives me that. It also gives me a beauty of hitting that club, the shape of that club around the ball when you are on the fairway or in some rough. It's a club that you feel, because often with a 3-wood, you wouldn't feel confident cutting through rough or light rough with it. I feel absolutely fine cutting through rough with this 4 hybrid. And the other thing as well is I'm discovering as of today, Tombo, is I can shape this thing. I can bend this around. I did a chip earlier on where I had to bend it right around a tree about 100 yards. So I basically did a big chip with it and sliced it and put this incredibly like it is a malleable little bit of putty. It's my magic wand at the moment, this 4 hybrid. I honestly, I cannot rave about it enough. If I hit it full on, it's 190, 195 yards off the deck. And that is, it's amazing, that club.
I can't believe we've not spoken about your 7-wood. After 2 years of me on this show saying 7-wood, 7-wood, it's a game changer, get it in your bag. You've now been fitted with a 7. So you got a 3-wood and a 7-wood, right? I
mean, you call it the 7-wood. I like to call it the giant 9-iron.
Ah, yes, the 210-yard 9-iron.
Yeah, 210 or 220. It's unbelievable. If you don't have a 7-wood, what are you doing?
Yes.
Like, what's happened in your life that has meant you don't have a 7? What is your excuse for not having a 7-wood? Write it in the comments. The Toms at golfersreadingmylife.co.uk. It is so easy to hit. It nestles in behind the ball. I can hit it off the tee and it'll give me 220, 230. Why would I need so often these days anything more, especially in summer? And it just, the only word I can use to describe it is it balloons up.
Yes.
And it just flies. And you've been... by the way, very soon there's going to be a lot of exciting YouTube content of me and Tom playing golf in Scotland. Coming soon to our channel.
Because this is the thing with this fitting. This fitting happened maybe a week and a half ago, and we've been looking forward to telling you about it till today. But we had all these clubs for Scotland. So we're going to put everything we're talking about today, you will see, put into practice over 3 amazing rounds for the rest of summer. The thing that I'm proudest of in this bag fitting, and the thing that I've struggled with for so long, is distance. I would, for years, genuinely, I would get to 160 yards and then have nothing other than driver, because I couldn't hit long irons. I didn't have a 3-wood. I couldn't do it. Even relatively recently, yes, the 7-wood has been different, but I never could hit a 3-wood. And I said this to the guys at Ping, and they were like, don't worry, we've got the perfect setup, because we know you love a 7-wood, so that's in. Yeah. You hit that amazing. Introduce the 4-wood.
Now, what I was going to say was, if you watch our videos, which I'm sure you will, you'll see us playing. Get ready to hear me saying a lot to camera. Oh my God, my 7-wood's amazing. Also get ready for Tom Green saying a lot to camera. Oh my God, I love my 4-wood.
Yep. I'll put my hand up. There's 2 bits of my game right now which I'm struggling with. One of them is driver. I'm just going to be absolutely honest about that. I've got a bit of a slice in the game, and I'm actually going to go for some lessons to look at this, because it was bad with the old driver. It's better with my new driver, but it's definitely the fault is mine. So I'm going to go away and get some lessons. Okay. And this was felt a little bit in Scotland last week. So I took 4-wood off the tee, loads, and it was a game changer.
Yeah. How far do you hit it then?
230, 240, something like that.
Why do you don't need any more than that? You don't need any more than that.
Yeah, and I am starting to come to that conclusion a little bit. I don't want to... I feel like it's the bad thing to go, I can't hit driver, so I'm going to remove driver from the bag, especially not with the G440, because the G440 is... Everyone knows this. If you watch YouTube golf, you know this. The G440 is the most forgiving driver in golf. Yeah. Anyone can hit it down the middle, bar this chump at the moment, because I can only hit a slice. So I can't give up on my own bit. I can't give up on that bit of the game. So I'm going to get some lessons. It's like remarkable. Lovely Adam, who fitted me. Everything is set up in this driver to help me hit a draw. The weight is all the way in the draw setting. I can still hit a fade, guys. I can still hit a fade.
I love it.
So
yes, you have got. Can I just say, because we've got an email from lovely Nick. Thank you to Nick. Brilliant. The fitting. Oh, he was just fantastic. You've got the Max driver set in the draw position.
Yeah.
With the Ping Tour 2.0 black 65 stiff shaft and Tour Velvet white grip, and crucially,
that's right.
And this explains, because I noticed in Scotland a couple of times you were sort of out driving me, and I was a bit like, huh. And I genuinely do not care about distance. However, I've just seen your driver is set to 9 degrees, whereas mine is 10.5.
So this was the most fascinating thing that came up in the fitting. This was gold dust for me.
Go on.
So on this show a lot, I've spoken about the fact, and we mentioned it with that video with Simon Dyson, is 1 or 2 times around, I will literally top my driver off the tee. And I have no idea why. Doesn't make sense. Don't understand why I'm doing it. And Adam was like, it's because you're wristy on the way through. So essentially what that means is if my timing is all correct, I'm absolutely fine and it's in position, it's all good. However, as soon as my timing goes out, I essentially flip the club a little bit at impact. And what that does is it adds a shed load of loft, right?
Yeah.
So what this can often mean is I'm adding loft, so I'm getting a flyer. So I'm losing distance with spin, or if my timing's really off, there is so much loft on it, I'm nearly missing the ball. I'm hitting
when did you last hit an air shot? That would be so impressive.
I would say I've not hit one for years, but I would say I've been I nearly do it once around because my timing just goes off and I hit the bottom groove of the driver, and that's when I hit those rubbish ones. And this was such a big insight into my game because when I hit these thin ones, I've never known why. I've been like, have I just forgot how to play golf? No. My timing's just gone off, and I've got flippy at delivery, added a load of loft, added a load of spin, and that's why I'm losing distance off the tee. So we knocked it down to a 9-degree driver, and that helped with that.
Why does that help with it? Because you're still adding all that loft, but it's got that much less loft on the club.
It's just slightly less loft on the club, I guess.
Right.
It's one of those things that, again, it was another insight during the fitting of, okay, that's something I need to work out in a lesson.
Yeah. Well, this leads us on nicely to the driver then. So that's your driver. You've got like I said, the 9 degree. I've got a 10.5 degree. It's the Max. It's the G440. And the best way I can describe it is there's a feeling of punch behind the ball. You do less of the work, and the club just get that club into that position and let it rip. And it's incredibly forgiving. I hit it all over the face. God knows I look for parts of the face that other golf balls have never found, and I will find them. And you'll still get a result of sorts out of them, even if you're hitting it off wild parts of the face. I sky mine quite a lot. And today I hit a drive. I sent you a picture, Tom. I don't know if you've seen it, but I played 16 at our place, or what used to be our place, and I hit a drive that was just
long
short of the
par
greenside
4.
bunker.
It's a bit of the course that gets a little bit harder. You've been lulled into a bit of a false sense of security on that place, and then the last 4 holes really are really long and are really difficult.
And for the first time, I hit it well in Scotland, but today I really put a full swing on it, and I hit it. It was in the greenside bunker. It was a chip. It was a chip on. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable.
That is unbelievable. That is amazing.
Yeah. And I don't even think there was wind behind particularly. It just flew. So, when you catch the sweet spot with these drivers, and it feels great behind the ball, it looks fantastic behind the ball. And the same goes for all the G440 wood. So I've got the 3, and like we've been saying, the 7. Tom, we're getting towards the end, which means we've perfectly arrived at. We've talked a bit about the wedges. Do you want to go into wedges a bit before we talk about putter, or should we just dive into the putters?
Yeah, I'm not a wedges geek. If I'm honest, I'm not a wedges geek. There'll be people that love the wedges. For me, it's a means to an end. Wedges. I've got a 52 and a 58. For me, the coolest thing is they're blacked out. That's the only thing I care about the wedges. They're blacked out. They look so sick.
Yeah. Well, you know what I got though. So I've got a 50, a 54, and a 60, but I've also got a bunker. The new Ping bunker, Bunkr, and it is 64 degrees. That's a lot of degrees. That's more degrees than Professor Brian Cox.
It's a lot of loft.
And it is, and it sits there. And the shape of the club, if you're a Ping obsessive like we were as kids, the Ping Zing 2s, those were my clubs that I grew up with. It sits and looks like Captain Spock's ear. It just sits behind the ball, and you just play a solid bunker shot.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, it's amazing. It's amazing. I love it.
So those are the those are the wedges. As I say, I'm not a wedges geek. I just love the fact mine are blacked out. And then at Gainsborough, you do a putter fitting, which we did as well. And I ended up in Victor Hovland's putter, not his actual one he's used.
He'll be
but
furious.
The one they designed with him. I think it's called the DS72, something like that.
DS72,
PLD milled, and it's really nice. It's again putter, as you will see in the Scotland videos. Not to give any spoilers, there are two bits of my game at the moment which are a little bit all over the place. One of them is the driver, one of them is the putter, and I hate the fact I know that I've got some of the best gear in golf in my bag because it means I can't blame the kit, and that I'm struggling with.
Well, that's quite good in a way, because a lot of golfers do blame their kit too often, and when you've had this solid and robust a setup put in your bag, there's only so much blaming of the tools that the workman can do. So it's quite helpful to know that. I have got, and this was a real moment for me, the milled Ally Blue 2-degree flat putter. And we tried all the putters there. In fact, Tom, we did something called a putting handicap, which is a nice, neat little thing you can do if you go to Gainsborough and get a full bag fitting. Basically, they strap a device onto the shaft of the putter, and you can see what your putting handicap is. Tom, do you remember your putting handicap? How did you do?
I have no idea.
Oh,
okay. There's been so much has happened between now and then. I think I was +4 maybe, but I am very much guessing. I mean, as a bloke that shot 20 over yesterday, a +4 putting handicap doesn't quite seem reflective of my game, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it was really good. You were something like +2.1. I remember that.
Okay, you've got the numbers. Okay, perfect.
Well, no, I remember off the top of my head, I was something like +3.1. But it is, as you say, I mean, it probably doesn't ally exactly with how we're doing in terms of our actual golf. But it was a good way of sort of judging and grading your shaft lean and the speed that you putt at. But what was so amazing was just looking at all these wands. It was like Harry Potter choosing his wand. And I was trying a couple, and then this one putter, I just put it under my nose, and I was like, I didn't even, Tom, this is absolutely true, that day I didn't want to leave it there. Like, I was like, I need to take this back on the train with me, and this needs to get now, this needs to come with me. And I felt genuinely sad about leaving. It was a bit like when you, if anyone's ever got a dog and you go and see the litter of puppies and you meet it for the first time, but it has to stay there with its mother for another 10 weeks or so. I wanted to take it away from its mother that in that moment, and I love it so much.
We can't thank Ping enough for was an amazing experience and an amazing day. And I think the thing that we spoke about so much behind the scenes on the show about this is the fact that you could go. If you've liked what you've heard, you want to go to Gainsborough and get the fitting, and whether it's you just want to do the irons or you just want to do the wedges or the drive or whatever it is, you can go and book in and have the experience. While we were there was people coming in and getting their own stuff. It was incredible. It was like golf Christmas. And we had the clubs in our hands 2 days later or 3 days later.
Yes.
And
yes. They were sped through for us because we were going to Scotland. That was amazing.
The speed at which they got them was insane. However, the turnaround time there, because where you get fitted, the factory is 2 minutes down the road. I don't think there's a huge delay. If you want them quickly, you can go and get fitted and then get the clubs within like the week or whatever. It was an amazing experience, and you could see us hit all this stuff in Scotland over the next few weeks. Do you know what I'm going to do as well, Tom? I'm going to put, for the real geeks, because I know we've probably not done all the stats justice, I'm just going to copy and paste what Ping sent over and put it in the description of this podcast episode, because then you can just geek out yourselves.
Don't leave the bit in the bottom that says, hope the above is enough info for you. Please feel free to contact me if you'd like more information. That doesn't need to be in the email. Leave that bit out. But best regards, Nick. That doesn't need to be there. Listen, thank you very much to Ping, and thank you to you for listening and watching us on YouTube. We're back on Thursday, as ever, with Email Corner. So drop us an email, thetoms@golfisruiningmylife.co.uk. It's a free swim on Thursday, isn't it, Tom? Any topics you want to bring up? We're getting some excellent emails already.
Yes.
And our favourite one will win £50 to spend at Golf Bidder.
And on Thursday, I think we might be launching something very exciting that you can get your hands on within 2 weeks, which if you are going on holiday, if you've got a golfing trip coming up, you might be able to get your hands on something. It's still a bit T's and C's, may or may not, but I think it is going to happen. On Thursday, there is a thing. And I will say no more other than to say this is probably the geekiest episode we've had of the podcast since that one where Tom got a driver fitting and recorded the whole thing. But I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you to Ping and thank you to you lot. And yeah, let's see where these clubs take us.
20 over par last Friday.
That's it. Yeah. No, Ping, I can't stress it enough. For the first time in my life, that was my fault.
Yeah. And some of the golf I've played since I got them, I shot a very good round in Scotland, which you'll see. And also today, I played back at my home course. We're not even 2 weeks into these new clubs yet. And the golf I'm playing is without a doubt, the best golf I've ever played. Like, it's unreal what I'm doing with these clubs. So thank you. Get your hands on some and see us again on Thursday.
Thursday's massive.